Buenos nachos. What's going on, Brent? How's everybody doing? Creepa! What up, man? What's going on, Ice Wolf? Hey, hey, hey! Boy, do I have a story for y'all. Happy New Year, everyone. How am I doing? That is the $50 question. Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you just have to say F it. Jamar's down there somewhere. Just throw it up there, he'll get it. Oh man, Joey Burrow. I told you guys last year when he got injured that he was the real deal. The moxie and the way that that kid kept taking hit after hit. I told you guys last year he was legit, even before the hype train left the station. All right, enough about Joey B. I want to make this somewhat quick. I know it's not gonna be quick, but I want to make an attempt to make it quick. Quick-ish. So, I was once told by somebody very, very wise, when you have to think where to start, it's always best to start at the beginning. So this is going to be a little bit less interactive than you're used to seeing me. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat, but I have a whole very long and complicated story to tell that includes a diagram. So I will field questions and comments later. I also want to point out right in the beginning, this video is not to play on anybody's sympathies or anything like that. I simply wanted to, in my, full disclosure that I always give, I wanted to kind of share the last 4 days and what happened and how crazy these last 4 days were. So that's all I want to do with that is just tell this story because it was nuts. So obviously I wasn't live on New Year's Day. I was supposed to finish up Ice Wolf, who's in the chat. I have his box sitting here, and Jose's box is sitting here. I was supposed to log in at 9 o'clock and do the show, open those boxes, and then talk about some of the things that are coming up with DCD Collects, specifically the next item that's coming out, give a little more information about it. I'm very excited to do so. Is anybody else having video issues? Or is it just Chef? Okay, Trevor can see me. Chef, man, you might want to do a reset. Ah, there you go. All right. I do look like I'm on a little bit of a delay, though. But that's fine. So... the beginning. So I sleep on my side. I have a bad back. It's easy to sleep on my side, put a pillow between my legs, keep my vertebrae straight. That's how I sleep. Not that any of you care. But it's pertinent to the story. So the day before New Year's Eve, the night of New Year's Eve, I was sleeping. And in the middle of the night, I woke up because I had a pain in my upper abdomen. And it hurt when I was sleeping on my side, but I didn't think anything like it. I'm old, things just ache after a while. So I rolled over on my other side and went to sleep. When I woke up, New Year's Eve, I was in a good amount of discomfort. Now, I have a legendary tolerance for pain. When I was younger and way more stupider than I am now, one of my parlor tricks was a person could put out their cigarette on my arm and I could look at them unflinchingly, and that would usually score me $20. This is how dumb I was. That would score me $20 so I can get a pitcher of beer at the bar. Um, you could like take a stapler and like put staples in me and I wouldn't flinch at you. I have deep nerves, so I have just my senses of touch are not very sensitive. All my nerves are there. It's called having deep nerves. All my nerves are buried deep in my body. So anyway, so I'm used to just something hurts. Wait a minute, it goes away. But progressively through the day, after I ate specifically, I was starting to get a pain that I was unfamiliar with. A pain that was not skeletal because I've broken many bones before. It wasn't muscular because I played football, hockey. I've torn and sprained and strained every muscle you can imagine, including a torn abdominal muscle, which, by the way, worse than you could imagine. This was different. This was more internal. And at about 5 o'clock, I decided to just go to emergency care on New Year's Eve just to see if it was, my stomach or whatever. Figure it out. So I go to emergent care. I tell them, hey, I get a sharp pain whenever I breathe. And, I feel like I have to burp, but I can't burp. And I have this pain that's, right around my stomach area. Maybe it's an ulcer or something. So they check me out. They're like, they give me they take a look. They don't give me any tests other than tapping on my stomach, pushing pressure on it, listening to what I say. And she's like, here's some lidocaine gel to swallow. Here's some Maalox. You have an upset tummy. Leave. So that's what I did. I knew she was wrong, but I knew I wasn't getting any further help there. So I went home and I'm like, Mel, I'm fine. About 2 hours later, I was no longer fine. And I was walking around the house trying to walk it off like a champ, like Peyton Manning told me to. Walk it off, rub a little dirt on it. And it got to the point where I was just not able to breathe anymore. Extreme discomfort. And Mel said, you need to go to the emergency room. You need to go like now. You're, I've never seen you in this amount of pain. Please go get it looked at by somebody who knows what they're doing and not a for-profit, 10-minute urgent care stop. And I did. I know I wasn't going to go. I wasn't going to go because I didn't want to go to an emergency room where people are really sick and really severely hurt and take up the useful time of the doctors and nurses that are there just to find out that I have gas and need to fart. So I refused. And then what's up, ninja? I love you too. So about 2 hours later, it got to the point where I could no longer stand the pain. I was like, I seriously thought of jumping on the couch and landing on my head to knock myself out so I wouldn't feel the pain anymore. So at that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the ER. If I'm in that much pain, I got to go. So Mel's like, just go. So I went. So I get there and they're like, okay, we'll take a look. They give me an x-ray, give me a CT scan. And immediately they think it could be your gallbladder. Where I was pointing, they're like, that's probably your gallbladder. You may just have to have your gallbladder taken out. Which in today's medicine, not as tough as it used to be. Now gallbladder's a quick in and out thing, and you're done. So I was like, okay, well, they said we have to, figure out if that's it. So the MRI, the X-ray, nothing. The MRI, because the X-ray is not going to help in that case. The MRI says my gallbladder's fine. They take a pint of blood to run every test known to man. My liver's good. My kidneys are good. My gallbladder and the secretions associated with gallbladder are actually all normal. But I have 18,000 count white cells. So my body's fighting something. They don't know what it is. So for the record, like between 8 and like 11,000 is a somewhat normal white blood count. So I'm almost twice the white blood count. So I'm fighting something bad, or something pretty decent to do that. So I was in the emergency room from 10:30 New Year's Eve. Celebrated the ball drop alone in a room. The nurses actually left to crack a bottle of sparkling grape juice to have a toast in the nurses' station during the ball drop. And then after the ball drop, they came out and went back to doing their job. So I didn't get to watch a ball drop this year. Whatever. And the ER doctor is like, I think you have a omental infarction. And I was like, infart what? I love you. So here's where I break out the chart. There's a part of your body called the omentum. This is this is a medical diagram. It is a drawing. It is not graphic, but it does illustrate the inside of the abdomen cavity. So if you don't like medical drawings, this is my opportunity for you to just turn off the screen, look away, and I will tell everybody, keep the sound on. I will tell everybody when it's okay to look at the screen again. But I want to explain to everybody where the omentum is, because I had no idea. And I was somebody who was going to go to school for sports medicine, did anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, and I don't even recall the omentum. And apparently while the omentum is extremely important, it is not the most highly studied and knowledged item in your body. So there's my disclaimer. Here comes a diagram. I have no faith that it worked. Hold on. All right, it did work. All right, so here's your liver. This is your rib cage. So your rib cage is going to extend down to here. Your sternum will be right here. And your stomach is here, and the gallbladder underneath here is your large intestine, your small intestine. So this fatty vascular tissue that covers these items is called your omentum. And it's the greater omentum. You have a lesser omentum. It's hiding under your liver. But we don't need to worry about that. So here's the gallbladder. Here is where all of this pain I'm having is. So the thought is it's got to be the gallbladder. Stomach is okay. Stomach sounded fine. Gallbladder probably needs to come out. So they're like, we're going to do an ultrasound. So the ultrasound shows I had one of the most rarest unnatural conditions. And when I say one of the rarest, there are roughly 600 cases in the history of medicine dating back to the 1800s of what happened to me actually occurring. And a omental infarction is where a piece of the omentum twists and gets lodged, and will cut off blood to your stomach and intestines. So what happened with mine, it's slightly different. I didn't have the omentum infarction in the torsion, which means twisting method. a piece of my omentum decided to flip upside down and lodge itself. Now, your lungs go over here. This is your lung that they're pretending to cut back. It lodged itself right here between my lung, which is, again, not shown here, but would be here, between my lung and my rib cage. So this little piece flipped upside down and shoved itself in here. All right, for those who can't stand it, you can look back again. It is safe to look. So, if you look up omentum, thank you. DC the science guy, right? If you look up omental infarction, you'll read about this super rare occurrence. Now, this is how rare it is. Besides the fact that you can count the number of times that this has been medically determined in the hundreds in modern medical history, should tell you how rare that is. They don't know how they occur. Thanks, Chef. They don't know how they function. As a matter of fact, the omentum itself still has a lot of functions that we don't understand medically. They call it the policeman of the abdomen. The only way to truly diagnose it is to do an exploratory surgery and figure out how and what happened. So when the ER doctor eliminated all other possibilities, the only thing that remains must be the correct one. So at midnight, just after the ball dropped, they came out to tell me, we have to prep you. You might be going to have emergency surgery right now, and we're transferring you to Mount St. Mary's Hospital in Lewiston. And I was like, oh? Don't I get a phone call? So you guys know Mel. Imagine trying to explain that to Mel. Needless to say, panic ensued. Don't. It was Mount St. Mary's. So anyway, panic ensues. Now, here's where the story gets a bit crazy. They're like, we're going to give you a shot of an antibiotic. And they started connecting the electrodes, the monitor trodes to me. Had an IV in. This is midnight, just after the ball dropped. Now, last time I had eaten. What's going on, Bolt? The last time I had eaten before I went to the emergency room was 4 p.m. New Year's Eve. I want you to keep that in mind. They said, we've called an ambulance. You're going to be escorted. I was like, listen, can I just drive myself? It's 30 minutes away, and I'm going to get there faster than an ambulance. He's like, you're not going to get there faster than an ambulance. It's like, all right, whatever. You're the boss. 4 hours later, the ambulance arrives to take me. P.S. It's 30 minutes away. I could have drove there faster. I get in the ambulance. The paramedic's name is Dave. Instantly, we're best friends. And I tell him, I was like, damn. They said they called you 4 hours ago. He's like, we've been waiting in the parking lot for 3 hours. Nobody called us. Awesome. I can tell this is going to be fun. So let's take me being in the ambulance right there. What's going on, Lee? Oh, it's good to be vertical. So a few people got to see photos of me horizontal, and not in the way that you want to see me. Not that actually none of you want to see me in any way horizontal. So Lee and Trevor and Doug obviously got some hospital pictures of me, but Anyway, I digress. So we're going to stop with me at 4 a.m. on New Year's Day in the hospital. We're going to pause, and if this was a movie, we're going to do when Dave asks me, how was your stay in the ER? Now we're going to go diddle-doo, diddle-doo, diddle-doo. Now what's going on, Mr. Young? Now we're back in the ER. Let's pretend it is now the time period of 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. While I was there, I had not one, but two people who got so drunk on New Year's. I went to the one in Niagara. Sorry, hold on. I shouldn't drink carbonated beverages right now. Supposed to stay away from them. For the time being. And you know I like my water bubbly. Yeah, the one with the ambulance parking. That's right. So not one, but two ladies, and I say ladies because they're older than me, who were so hammered after the ball drop, slipped and fell, and cracked their head open. Both of them unconscious. One of them next to me, and embarrassed that it happened. The other one, not as in good condition. She came unconscious with like a concaved fractured skull. She's probably going to have a tough time. I didn't get a follow-up on her because I left before anything happened. But the one girl that came in, I mean, if you pray for her. I don't know her name, but they had a lot of people working on her. She cracked her skull when she fell. And then the champion came in. My hero of the night. I know his name. I'm not going to say this. Right? I'm telling you, Ninja. I was in bed before midnight, but not that type of bed. So this guy gets admitted about 2 a.m. And he says he drank a liter of vodka and passed out in a pile of mud, and that's why he was in the state that he was in. The police brought him in. The paramedics / police. And I'm listening to him, and he's like passing out mid-sentence. He's non-coherent. I'm like, oh, dude had a drink or two. So I'm listening to his story about just getting drunk and smoking weed and drinking vodka and smoking marijuana, because apparently those are 3 different things. Because 3 times when asked what he took, he said, I smoked some weed, I drank some vodka, and I smoked some marijuana. And they kept asking him, what was your marijuana laced with? And I'm like, ooh, plot thickens. And I'm thinking, now there's a curtain between us, obviously. But I'm thinking, damn, why do they keep asking him this? So I finally have to pee, and I have to walk by his room to pee. And I'm like, I'm going to be able to see this character. So I get up, and I'm all trying to nonchalantly, take a peek to see what drunk guy looks like. Pretty sure he's meth guy. Because the pockmarks on his face and the gauntness of his appearance lets me know he's probably ODing on something that wasn't called vodka and marijuana. So I was like, oh, complete waste of a human being. Awesome. Way to go, Lockport. And he's like mid-sentence will just nod out and start snoring. I'm like, ooh, heroin, cool. So he's an absolutely just waste of a human being. I was really happy that they discharged me after he got there, because it was just like listening to him blubber and cry. I was like, I have no sympathy for you, man. I have more sympathy for drunk girl who cracks her head than drug addict who can't handle his stuff and needs the cops called by his friends. That's just me. I have a different level of sympathy. So happy to get out of there. Flash forward, I'm now traveling to the hospital in the ambulance, chatting with Dave, the paramedic. Dave is awesome, telling me about his kids. He's got 2 girls, Sounds like he has a really awesome family. The girls did really well for Christmas. I was telling him about how good Jimmy made out for Christmas. Excellent conversation. He talks about me. Yeah, right, Creepa? No, it's not Buffalo, buddy. Lockport is heroin town. Buffalo's actually cleaned up a lot. Um, and we're having a good time. We're talking about, so he's asking me what happened, and he asks me what I do for a living because he hears my voice and he's like, "What do you do on the radio?" I'm like, "Kinda. You like comic books?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Awesome. So this will go over real well." So I told him exactly what we do here and and I told him about you guys and how great you guys are and blah blah. He's like, "Oh, that sounds like fun, man." He's like, "That's it. It sounds pretty cool." Um, and then he drops me, drops me off, wishes me well, and says, hope everything gets better. He's like, by the way, whenever we get a call to pick up somebody, we get to see what's wrong with them because there's a lot of times they have to know how to care for us in transit. He's like, yours required no care. He goes, but that's coming soonly. But he's like, we looked yours up, and he goes, dude, do you know how rare what happened to you is? And I was like, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. There's about 600 people in the world that have ever had it in history. He's like, yeah, man, that's pretty cool. I'm like, cool is not the word I'm thinking of right now. He's like, you're pretty lucky. I'm like, lucky? Also not on the things that are on there. And he's like, well, okay then. I see what you mean, but it's pretty neat that, you have something that has very little is known about. Hey now. Oh, thanks, bud. Uh, Brent, you're such a nice person. Um, so I arrive at the hospital. I'm in pain. I'm not going to hide it. Then, not now. I mean, now I'm in discomfort. At that time, I was in pain. Um, so I'm there. I already have my IV in. They immediately hook me up to the thing, taking my vitals, asking me about my history, blah 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 blah. So it's New Year's Day now. It's about 4:30 in the morning, New Year's Day, and so I go through that. I am tired. I had not slept. I slept poorly the night before because I was in pain. I'm tired. So I managed to pass out for about 4 hours, maybe. So around 8 o'clock, they come in. They give me my blood pressure medication, and then they tell me, "Can you take these pills without drinking water?" I was like, "No, they're uncoated and chalky. I cannot." They're like, "Well, you need to take the smallest sip of water. You're not allowed to eat or drink anything." Come again? You're on NPO, which means you are not allowed to have any food or water until we determine if you're having surgery. I said, hold up. I can't eat or drink until you determine whether I need to have surgery. That's correct. It's like, okay, when do I see the doctor? You'll see him today. Great. All right, no food, no water. Give me an IV. I'll drink through my arm. I'm good to go. So, a few hours go by. Nothing. They ask me, do you want something for your pain? No, I'm a rock star. I don't need anything for pain. Get out of here with that pain stuff. I'm a man. If I have pain, I'll bite down on a tongue depressor. And then I'll use what's left of the splinters to pick my teeth. Because I'm a man. So, doctor says, I have your CTs. I have your x-rays. I'm going to go take a look at them. I see the diagnosis from the other doctor. It's extremely unlikely that that's the case, but we're going to narrow it down to find out what it is. I was like, okay, because that's what he did. And he determined that that's what it was. Now, the doctor I'm talking to there, I'm not going to say his name. He's a very good doctor, though, in my opinion. He was swamped. I mean, think about it. It's the weekend. It's a holiday weekend. Right? Some duct tape to reattach my leg. That's right. So nurse comes in a couple hours later. Would you like anything for the pain? You look like you're in pain. Good. So she gives me, they have to do an intravenous antibiotic because just in case the original diagnosis is correct. So basically the surgeon, which was the guy that at the hospital, the ER doctor gave my initially gave my diagnosis. The surgeon wanted to be the second opinion to decide whether that was correct or not. So he wanted to do a little more work just to make sure, because that is such a rare occurrence. That's right. What brings you to the ER? I need to get a sharp bike looked at. It may be infected. He wanted to make sure, because it's so rare, there was a low chance that it was happening. It had to be something else. He was like, I think it's a gallbladder. So he's like, I'm going to go look at the CT scans. No food or water till we determine what's going on. I'm like, yeah, I got that already. Thank you. 6:00 p.m. rolls around. No, 5:00. Whenever Mel showed up, rolls around. Mel knows better. It was probably like 4 or 5. Mel shows up to see her man in the hospital. And the doctor still hasn't come back. The nurses, who, by the way, the nurses and staff of Mount St. Mary's Hospital in Lewiston, New York, are some of the most phenomenal human beings I've had the pleasure to interact with, not in this chat. It was 1:30. There you go, it was 1:30. They were kind. They were empathetic. They were understanding. They were funny. All of them. I did not meet a sour person in that place. And I would say them all by name, but so many people waited on me over 4 days that I don't have time. But they were amazing. So Mel gets there at like 1:30. Nothing. Mel stays till about 5. Right as Mel gets there, I think I finally said, my pain is a 2. Can I get something? And they gave me it was like a liquid Motrin or something along those lines. It was like the liquid form of Motrin, which just gives the general dulls everything. So Mel's there with me, holding my hand like the good wife. And like 5:30 rolls around. Now visiting is over at 6. Oh, that's awesome. I did not have anybody named Heather work on me. I can tell you that. I didn't have a Heather. I was on the 6th floor, room 622. So nurses say the doctor hasn't said anything, hasn't returned our calls. Oh, he's gone for the day. He's gone for the day? What did he say before he left? Oh, we don't know. Okay. My pain is a 6 now. My pain is a 6. He's not here. I'm a 6. And they're like, okay, because we're authorized to give you something there. And and Mel's telling you there was no doctor or radiologist on New Year's Day at the hospital, so nobody could assist the surgeon. But so it goes like, well, we do have two prescriptions for you. We have your low grade and your mild thing. I'm like, well, I'm mild now. I'm like, if I can't eat, if I can't drink, if I'm not going to find an answer till tomorrow, I'm in a level of discomfort that, yeah, give me the medium stuff. She brings in a syringe the size of my thumb, full of Dilaudid. That is one ride I've never bought a ticket for in my life. So Mel was there. She may be able to explain this better than I can. Because after the Dilaudid train started up, I don't remember the next 24 hours very well. Other than, holy, pardon my French, shit, that is a powerful drug. Yeah, I don't know if there's video. I mean, unless Mel did. Did I pull an AB? I almost did, Hellbolt. I almost did pull an AB. So, I'm flying. Like, the airplanes are struggling to keep up with me. And I'm not glorifying this. I'm not. Because if you look up this, if you look up, again, if you Google the omental infarction, one of the things it says is it is severely painful. And it is. But again, I'm stoic and I'm a tough guy, so I was going to gut it out. So I'm not glorifying this drug, but I want to explain what it was like. When she shot this thing into my IV, she didn't put it in the drip. She put it direct in, the in port, not the drip port. I felt every single one of my nerve endings, as deep as they were, light on fire for about 2 seconds in order from my heart to my lower extremities. It was immediately painful for about 2 seconds as a wave of burning heat traveled across my body. I remember. She's like, ooh, and hugged himself. Who's David? Who's that guy? I want to know, who are you spending time with? My shoulders shuddered, and I was like, oh, and it wasn't like when she says, ooh, it wasn't like, ooh, it was like, oh, it was painful in the beginning. And then as soon as that pain subsided, as soon as I could literally feel it creep across my face and like infect every single nerve ending. I'm not joking. I could feel it burning all my nerve endings. And then once the burning stopped, I was like, is this real life? I was schnockered. Again, I'm not glorifying this. I was in severe pain. Painkillers don't actually kill pain. The function of a painkiller is to distract your brain so you don't think of the pain. If you don't believe me, Google it. It's actually true. When you're taking what's it called? A opiate. When you're taking an opiate, it was Ninja, it was bat country in my room. It was bat country. I was like, I can't drink this. I would like to, but I cannot. How much for the go? It was bonkers. But yeah, so an opiate, what an opiate does, a red pill. What an opiate does is it actually just gets you high enough that you don't realize you're in pain. There's no such thing as really killing the pain. So Melissa left. She left. She left at like 5:30. 6 o'clock, I was asleep. I slept from 6 p.m. New Year's Day until 4 in the morning on the 2nd. Sitting up because I didn't have time to recline my bed. I woke up like this. Where'd everybody go? And why the hell are the lights off? Gone. I had to go pee-pee. So here I am walking with my IV tree. Like the first time I ever stepped on solid ground before. The scene where Dr. Dr. Hunter Thompson is walking into Circus after doing the ether. Where they were walking all like, and just not, that's how I was walking, but leaning on a rolling IV tower. Oh, that's true. Mel's right. I thought I was taking a nap. I was just trying to take a nap. And my nap went until 4 in the morning. So I'm on the struggle bus headed for the bathroom. And I get there and I pee. Yay. I lay back down, and I don't wake up until 8 o'clock. So I wake up because they have to check my blood pressure, and they have to give me my medication. They decided 8 a.m. was the time to give me my medication. And then I immediately ask, is the doctor going to be in today? Yes, he will be in today. We should have an answer. Cool. For the record, Madam Nurse, I would like to just remind you I haven't eaten since 2021. I'm a little hungry. Definitely thirsty. I know, sweetheart. Doing the best we can. We'll call him. Now, here's where time gets a little fuzzy, because right after I asked her for food, I got more painkillers. It wasn't because I was necessarily asking for them. It was just like, are you still in pain? I was like, yeah. She's like, let's do it. And I called Trevor, and I called Lee, and I called Doug. I even think I called my wife at one point. Talked to my mommy. Talked to my brother-in-law. And the nurse and Trevor both said something that was almost exactly the same. Because I told the nurse on the 2nd, I was like, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not trying to take too much of the painkiller because I know that if I take a painkiller, it prevents me from being able to go home. Once you inject me with that, I have to wait a certain amount of time before I can go home, and I want to be able to go home at the drop of a hat. She's like, oh, it's only 1 hour. I was like, no, the nurse wasn't Trevor. But they both said the same thing, and this is what they said. I said, oh, only an hour? Okay. Well, then, that's fine. She goes, listen. She's like, you might as well do it now because we can't give it to you when you get home. So why not, right? And I was like, somebody just told me if you're going to do it in a hospital. At least it's safe. was like, you're right. Can't take it with me. Let's go. And she was like, all right, let's do it. She was more excited than I was. Now, they all told me universally I was one of the nicest, and before I took the shots, that I was one of the nicest person. Like, if you're going to take drugs, that's the spot. Best place to take drugs is a hospital. But they even said, they were telling me I was very polite because people are helping me. Nurses have it tough enough. Hospitals are overfilled and understaffed as is. So I was nice to everybody. I said, please and thank you. And I wished everybody would have a nice day. And I would talk to them really well because that's what I was raised to do. My mother was an RN. I know the plight. She was an LPN too. So just be a good person and good things happen to you. That's kind of my thing. So because of that, they were more than happy to every 3 hours ask me, hey, are you ready for your next medicine? I'm ready. Okay. So you could say I kind of went on a bender for January 2nd. I don't remember much of it. I really don't. I know the Bills won. I remember parts of the game. I don't remember all the game, though. Because basically, like clockwork, they came in and like, all right, you can have your next round. I was like, why not? I can't eat. I can't drink. Let's do it. I'm not setting a good precedent, but I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not going to lie to you for the sake of my reputation. Again, look up what happened to me, and it'll tell you it's excruciating pain. The only reason that's truly the only reason the initial doctor in the ER didn't think it was what it came out to be was because he said, you're not screaming right now. And if this happened to somebody, they'd be screaming right now because it's terribly painful. So following my ultrasound, the surgeon comes back on the 2nd and tells me, yes, that is what happened to you. Part of your omentum flipped upside down and shoved itself between your ribs and your lung, and is in that cavity. So if this is my rib and this is my lung, it went like this and then did one of these. So that every time I breathed, I was pushing the lung against the omentum in the rib. Imagine, because the omentum is an organ. Now, if you want to know how painful this is, I need you to really think and understand what I'm saying. Take one of your organs, one that has nerve endings. I want you to take a piece of it. I want you to flip it upside down. Now take that piece of your organ, shove it between another one of your organs and a bone, and then rhythmically breathe on it. That is literally what happened to me. A piece of my organ folded itself up and jammed itself between a bone and my lungs. Every time I breathed, it hurt. I couldn't burp. And it just sounds weird. But that's actually one of the triggers. I couldn't burp. I felt like I had a stomach full of gas and I had to belch. I couldn't burp. I was dying to burp. I wanted to burp so bad. I knew if I burped, I'd feel better. I couldn't. And that was agonizing. Is I know if I can do this, I will be better. And I couldn't do that. So he said, here's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to take the conservative approach. We're going to give you some antibiotics to try to cure the inflammation. Chef, yes, Chef I will give you credit and say you probably know what that's like. Chef, you and maybe to a degree Trevor, without airing either of your laundries. You might be the only two people that may understand. I don't know the rest of you to say that for certain. But I digress. He said, normally how we can do this is we have to cut you open and do an exploratory. He goes, I'm a surgeon, that's what I do. But I think we should wait, give you some, continue with the pain tolerant, keep you juiced. Give you a strong amount of amoxicillin, because it's a good general antibiotic that kills everything. And if we can get the swelling down, if we can get the swelling to subside, and if we can, and the antibiotics are to, which yes, I know I'm not supposed to be drinking, but I'm having a drink while talking to you. I'll restart the amoxicillin tomorrow. The amoxicillin is just in case it does shut off the blood flow to parts of my intestine. You would want to stop the necrosis, which is basically the bacterial, viral, the eating away of the intestine. So you want to kill that. They're preemptively striking, just in case everything goes south. He goes, tomorrow, let's revisit this. So get some sleep. So I took another shot and went to sleep. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I lied. Last night on the 2nd, at 5 o'clock, he said, yeah, manage the pain, take the antibiotic, and we'll see tomorrow. I don't want to do surgery at this time. I don't think it's prudent. And then I said, Doc, so you're telling me I'm not getting surgery? He's like, not at this time. I said, I have not eaten since 2021, 4 p.m. on the 31st. It is now 5 o'clock on the 2nd. Do you want to count how many hours without food and water that is? He's like, yeah. Yeah, we need to feed you. If we need to do surgery, we'll just stop at 12 hours before we do surgery. What's up, man? Happy New Year. So it was like the sounds of angels trumpeting their horns, announcing a new day. When he said I could eat, my nipples could cut glass. I'm so glad I had my cell phone with me, because I was not going to be able to stand up to go get food. I immediately called the closest place, and they're like, what would you like? I was like, everything. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, I want one of all of it delivered to the hospital, room 622. Stat. She goes, no, sir, really. I was like, I would like a 12-inch pizza sub. I would like an order of fries. I would like it was something I don't normally drink, a Gatorade. And I was like, you deliver it to the floor. She goes, well, I can't deliver it to the floor. I can deliver it to the front desk. Fine. I told her, I was like, I haven't eaten since 2021. I need it. Right. That's exactly what it was. That's in my mind. If there was a cafeteria that was open in the hospital when they gave me the green light to eat, I would have done that, Ninja. So the girl goes, oh, that's terrible. You haven't eaten in 3 days. I was like, no, literally I haven't eaten in 3 days because of surgery. She's like, okay, well, we'll make it extra nice for you. She goes, we're going to throw in some slices of pizza. You can give it to the nurses if you don't mind, as a gift from us to them. I was like, oh, it's very nice of you. Cool. So the nurse goes down, picks up the order from the front desk. They had 3 huge slices for the nurses. So the nurses got pizza out of the deal. And the nurse is like, oh, did you get it from so-and-so? I was like, yeah, I did. They're like, oh, they're really good to us nurses. Let's you know, thank you. Thank you for ordering it. And, you're such a good patient. We love you. I was like, thank you. So for those who don't know, most people outside of New York don't know what a pizza sub is because they really don't exist per se. But take a sub roll, open it up, put pizza sauce on it, basically make a pizza. Put mozzarella and pepperoni, and you cook it open faced like you would a pizza. And then you can either fold it up like the sandwich and eat it, or just eat it open face. I lived in Texas, Florida, and Indiana, and none of those three places knew what a pizza sub was. Right? You're such a good patient. You should almost die so we see you more often. So, I ate the whole thing, 12 inches of it. I ate a whole thing of fries. The nurses managed to get me a meal from the basement, too. So I had barbecue pork chop with some potatoes, vanilla pudding, coffee, because they serve coffee with all three meals there, and apple juice. I was full. And because I was so full, I was in pain again. So, of course, I got my shot. Then I went immediately to sleep. Full belly plus Demerol, night-night. So I woke up at 7 o'clock to tell work, I'm not going to be here. I did, Creepa. You know what that's like. Creepa knows exactly what that's like. Taking it like a champ. Called off work because obviously I couldn't go to work. And then waited for the doctor to follow up. When I woke up, I felt like $5. Best I felt in a long time. And he comes in and he's like, hey, how do you feel? I'm like, oh man, I feel like a Finsky. I feel like a full $5, man. This is good. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, let's do some more antibiotics just as a precaution. I'm going to give you some pain management to take home. It's going to be light. It's not going to be too bad. If something goes sideways, come back. But until then, I just want to see you in 2 weeks. We're going to do a follow-up ultrasound just to see that everything's back in place. But you can go home today. If you feel like you want to. Now, there was a moment. There was a moment where I went, if I want to, I could stay here, get free food, Dilaudid, cable TV, in silence. Or I could go home to Mel and James, cook, and have it be loud most of the time. I said, I absolutely want to go home as fast as possible. My wife will be here in 20 minutes. Go get the nurse. There is no place I'd rather be than home. So Mel was there. Within about an hour and a half of Mel being there, I got discharged. And I got to my house at about 6 o'clock, 6:30, about 6:30. And said, I got to tell this story because it's got some humorous parts, it's got some fun, and it's got some interesting things. So, I asked the doctor before I left. I said, hey, what caused this? Why did this happen to me? I know it's rare. I know it's not a lot's known about it. How did this happen? And he looked me dead in my soul and went, I don't know. I was like, is there a way we can figure it out? He's like, I could cut you open. I could cut a piece of that meat out. I could send it to a lab and they could figure it out. But if you don't want to do that, let's just go with you're getting better and let's be happy about it. I was like, is it really that rare? He goes, I've actually done the surgery once before in my career. The gentleman was in his 60s. He's like, I'm probably the only doctor in this area that can say that. I've actually done this surgery before. He goes, that's why when I heard it could possibly be this, I took you as a patient thinking it couldn't possibly be that. He goes, but in case it was, I knew I was the only one that could help. So, yeah, I have joined the literal hundreds, that's all, of people in history since the 1800s to ever suffer from this extremely rare freak occurrence. The doctor literally described it as a freak occurrence because there's no medical explanation without cutting you open and taking a look at it. My, aren't I the lucky one? Bumblebee tuna. So Lee says, your pain level story reminded me of a crazy ER moment. My left thumb was almost cut off. Of course it was. I was in the ER taking photos of it with my phone, like you do, while the doctor was reattaching it. The guy next to me was screaming bloody murder. I commented that the guy in the next room must have something really bad. The doctor rolled his eyes and said, ingrown toenail. Okay, ingrown toenails do hurt, but I imagine having your thumb cut off a little bit more. It was funny. One of the who was I talking to? Oh, I was talking to Dave, the paramedic. We were talking about pain because he had to ask me. He's like, "Hey, what's your pain level?" I'm like, my pain right now is a 4 because I'm uncomfortable. I was like, let's say a 3. He goes, okay, I get it. I was like, it's not a 10. He goes, it gets so mad. And this is a paramedic talking. He goes, I get mad. He's like, cause people are like, oh, it's a 10. It's a 10, bro. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me cut your leg off. Now tell me, does it hurt more? Would you want this or me to cut off your leg? My God, I'd rather have this. Then your pain is not a 10. Cutting off your leg is a 10. You're at a 4. you got a gash on your forehead? You're at a 5. Your leg is missing? Now you're a 10. He goes, that scale is the most misquoted thing you can think of. Ninja's like, I had a guy next to me in the emergency room that was screaming over a toothache, and the doctor's like, get that crap out of here. Go see a dentist. It's true. But yeah, it was not how I wanted to bring in the new year. But yeah, so all of that is true. All of that happened. What's going on, Benj? How you doing? Ice Wolf. Are you still here? There he is. Yeah, it makes you actually feel like you peed yourself. I had to be injected with the dye on the first. The dye it makes you warm and it'll actually make you feel like you pee. Hey, Ice Wolf, do you want to see what's inside your box while you're here? I happen to have it with me. I might as well show you while you're here. Lee, what hasn't happened to you, man? I know this is yours because I was smart enough to write your name on it. 17, that's right. You had 12 and 17. Jim Kelly and Josh Allen. Well, Josh Allen came through on his game. Let's see if he comes through you again. Comes through again. Thank you. Good luck. Oh, yeah. Got a Donnie sticker. Three packs. Still good. Donatello. What up, Don? Dig it. Dig it, man. Well, there you go. Nice job. Oh, yeah. Bing! Congratulations! Josh Allen came through for you, too. You have won an original 8x10 work of art by Bing. There you go, man. Congratulations. There you go. Obviously, since I wasn't here, I was not able to do any shipping. I did, before I actually went to the hospital, I did manage to ship a couple of packages out. I'm hoping tomorrow I can get everybody else's out. That is the goal. So some people have them on their way, others have them hopefully coming tomorrow or going out tomorrow. So that was it. That was my really fun adventure for New Year's. Any questions? Ten out of 10 will not do that adventure again. Yeah, I know, right? As normal as I am classified as. That's right. That's what I'm saying, Ice. I'd love to take time. Tomorrow it doesn't look like I'm going to be allowed to go to work, but I will be back to work on Wednesday. Unfortunately, the bills, the bills I have don't stop just because I get hurt. Am I doing okay? I'm better. I'm not 100%. I'm not 90%. I might be about 75%. I lost 4 pounds. I'm down to 212 pounds. I know, right? At least Mel got a break from me. Poor James, my little boy, poor Jimmy, was so sad. So upset. It's just, he was so excited to see me. And I couldn't hug him because I was just out of the hospital. I had to go shower and scrub. But man, it's so good to see my wife and son again. If I need them back, well, I just engulfed a lot of pizza, so. Dangle, yeah, yours went out pretty quickly. I put yours in a priority box. That's why. It was actually all your items fit in a priority box. So I sent yours priority. So it should have been like 3 days. I will, man. I will. With that said, I know there's 21 of you on here, and that's actually a lot for me. I'm surprised the story of my misery has attracted so many of you. But I kid. But I got to go. As you can imagine, I am really excited to get into my own bed for the first time this year and spend some time with my family for the first time this year. And I'm not gonna lie, they're probably not excited that I decided to spend 1.5 of my hours with you guys before I spend it with them. But I owe it to you guys as well, a story of what happened, and that's it. So, I love each and every one of you. Thanks, Toad. I love each and every one of you. I do. Oh, thanks, Ninja. Um, Thank you, Benj. I do. I love each and every one of you, and I am so glad none of you have to go through what I did. And considering it's about a 1 in a billion chance it happens to you, because you got to figure how many people have went to a doctor, and only 600 people have gotten this thing since the 1800s. I mean, it's literally 1 in at least 1 billion that you get it. I'm happy that I got it and you didn't. So now you can say you know somebody that it's happened to, and it means it's extraordinarily unlikely that it'll happen to you. So I'll just say that I got it and you didn't. It is awful. But I love you all. I do. Thank you so much for spending time. Thank you for your understanding. Sorry I wasn't there for you on Saturday. Thanks, Detroit. Love you too, man. Um, but life happens, and as much as I am an internet personality, I'm real too. So I'm gonna get out of here. Please take care of yourselves and each other. And listen, the people that you see every day and the people that you haven't seen in a while, it's not a bad idea to call them and say hey, or give somebody near you a nice hug, or spread the love a little bit more than you normally would, because things can happen all of a sudden, and things that are extremely rare can happen all of a sudden, and that can give you some perspective. So feel free to reach out tonight and tomorrow and give a little more love outward for 2022, because things can go sideways pretty quick. But I digress. Take